coming in the doors.
Yep.
You said people were coming in the door? Yeah.
I was ordained in 2000. So I graduated divinity school in 98.
So we're about 5 years apart. I was ordained in 95. All that stuff. Doing my fellowship. So we're about 5 years apart. Professionals. No, we met when she was in Alabama and I was in South Carolina, and we went to a collegial event in Atlanta. And we met standing in line to process in for an installation service and preparing stalls. That was our meet cute.
Yeah, I didn't know a soul. I walked into the big church in Atlanta because I had just arrived in Atlanta. This was the first kind of big collegial event I'd gone to. It was just that fall, and like Halloween. And, so yeah, walking like I don't know a person, but we're going to be here. We're going to feel free. So here you go. Nate and Abby. Yep. All right.
I think you're right. So going right down.
Welcome. Good morning. My name is Linda Pratt, and I'm a member of, My name is Linda Pratt, and I'm a member of the Board of Trustees. Welcome to our service. Unitarian Universalism encourages an open-ended search for meaning in life and a commitment to asking our values to shape our actions. We are a pluralistic religion that draws wisdom from many sources. We welcome all people into our beloved community of whatever age, race, class, ethnicity, physical ability, sexual orientation, gender identity, or religious background. We welcome especially those of you worshiping with us for the first time today. Guests are welcome to participate in any activities in our community. Welcome team members are wearing green name badges and are ready to answer any questions you may have if you are a visitor or new to this congregation. Pastoral care team members are wearing yellow name badges and are able to talk with you if you have life transitions or need assistance. We invite everyone to join us downstairs after service for coffee and today for a potluck so that we may get to know each other better. Thank you for being with us today. And today we have as our guest minister, the Reverend Jennifer Innis. Reverend Jennifer is a graduate of the University of Massachusetts and Harvard Divinity School, and she was ordained into the ministry in 2000. She is here with her husband, Reverend Patrick Price, and her two children, Nate and Abby, and we're very happy to have her here today.
Just to also mention, Jennifer is the minister, the called minister at the Peoria congregation, the Universalist Unitarian Church of Peoria. Couple of announcements. Spotlight. Today is you will get your turn. Today is the last day for the survey. Tomorrow, but this is the last Sunday you get to do this.
But it's today, right? It's today.
Okay. So, how many of you are comfortable identifying as someone who has filled out the survey? Okay. So there's a lot of you who haven't done this yet. If you're a member or friend of the congregation, we really, really, really need your input. there are possible 120 people or so who could fill this out, and I think we had, how many last count? 35. So that's not quite 50%, and that's really, we could use 50% or better, okay? So we need closer to 60 to be comfortable with that as far as a data set and looking at the survey for the congregation and understanding who we are and where we want to go, all right? So Miriam, back here in the back, can help you in filling out your survey or answering questions about the survey because she's the one who helped draw it up with the rest of us helping her in putting the words together and stuff. But she's our technical expert, and she knows how to do that. So you can talk to her. We have paper copies. You can take time to fill it out. You're here for a potluck. You have time, okay? All right, so thank you for doing that. I'm going to ask Doug to come on up and do his spotlight for us now. So, Doug?
Just very quickly, today is also the last opportunity to vote in our Block a Hymn fundraiser. And I should warn you that our precious blue boat is leaking and needs some mulligans.
Lots of things going on. My name is Doug McCollum. I'm a member of the Pledge Drive Committee. It's that time again when we all look forward to the days getting longer, the sun getting warmer, and we kick off our UUCQC Pledge Drive. Lots of things going on. Block a Hymn, the survey, but our Pledge Drive is the time when we focus on the practical aspects of our church, paying our bills, funding our programs, and maintaining our beautiful building and grounds. This year's theme is Let Our Light Shine. We will kick off our pledge drive next Sunday, March 3rd, and it will continue for 6 weeks. After our service the next 2 Sundays, we will invite all members to remain in the sanctuary for an opportunity to complete the new affirmation form, which will allow us to update our demographic information, affirm our commitment to our covenant and ideals, and make our annual pledge. If you would like to familiarize yourself with the affirmation form ahead of time, there is a sample included in the newsletter, as well as on the bulletin board right outside the sanctuary. We hope that as many members as possible are able to complete their pledges in the next 2 Sundays, as this will really help reduce the numbers of members the pledge team will need to contact for follow-up. So we're kind of an idea. Do your survey, do the pledge card. They go together. Fill out the Block a Hymn form. You may have seen our new banner as you drove in today. It says, "Our community wants to be your community." As a longtime member of our congregation, I know how much I value our community. Our congregation has been and continues to be a liberal religious voice in our community. Help us continue to let our light shine on our congregation and our entire community. Thank you.
Bright morning stars are rising. Bright morning stars are rising. Bright morning stars are rising. Day is a breaking in my soul, in my soul.
It is a wonder and a mystery that our paths have crossed, that in the immensity of time, in the vastness of space, we coincide here. I am in awe of the ways in which our lives intersect and intertwine out the beauty we create together. May our coming together make us more compassionate, more just, more caring, and more loving. May our hearts and minds be open to this offering. I am so glad that you are here, that we are in fact here. So let us worship. Let us marvel at the miracle of being in this moment right now, and the mystery that has brought us together.
Let us join in our unison chalice lighting by saying, in these hard times, let us look first to the response of love. In the midst of challenge, may our chalice flame bear witness to the inherent worth and dignity of every human being. In the midst of uncertainty, may our chalice be a beacon of encouragement, that our values may guide our choices. Let us first look to the response of love. And now join us in singing our opening hymn. It is 1000 in your teal hymnal, or on the screen, it is Morning Has Come. Please rise as you're willing and able in body and or in spirit. Morning has come, bright and late the day. Journey please remain standing and join us in our responsive reading, number 664, Give Us the Spirit of the Child. Responsively, we begin. Give us the spirit of the child. Give us the child who lives within.
The child who trusts, the child who imagines, the child who sings.
The child who receives without reservation. The child who gives without judgment.
Give us the child's eyes, that we may receive the beauty and freshness of this day like a sunrise.
Give us a child's ears, that we may hear the music of mythical times.
Give us a child's heart, that we may be filled with wonder and delight.
Give us a child's faith, that we may be cured of our cynicism.
Give us the spirit of the child, who is not afraid to need, who is not afraid to love.
And so we are gathered here together in the Spirit, and we're going to greet that Spirit, that holy that is present within our midst, by briefly turning and greeting our neighbors, especially those we do not know. Give them about a minute tops.
Yeah.
Oh, there's the lighter. It's supposed to be over there.
We should get somebody to get a photo of us, because we all look good.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
We will. There's Ken.
All right.
Yep.
Are you going to include something in the local about the fire?
Yeah, I can. And it is now time for our message for all ages. Ken Johnson, our Director of Religious Education, is going to lead us in that, and we invite all of those who are young in heart and body and spirit to come forward as you're willing and able and join us in sharing in the story.
Hey everybody, how you doing? Did you say crazy? No, seriously, I didn't hear what you said. What did you say? Yes, you said crazy. Yeah, I have to agree. It feels crazy. So, the other day, I woke up and I saw on my phone that my wife had taken a picture of me and my daughter, just having a grand old time, laughing at the kitchen table, just doing great. And I took a look at that picture and I said, man, I look old. I did. I looked old. Now, bear in mind that I normally have this a little bit longer, and that was the thing. It was gray. I had streaks all over it, and I've got these lines, and I was like, I look old. And I said, I'm not ashamed of this. But it was just one of those things that you have these moments where you just kind of sit back and you look and you go, I want to change that right now. I just don't want to do that right now. Now, there may come a time where I don't have that option anymore, but I took it. So I changed. And I think what I want to ask you guys first is, if you guys could change into a panda or a lion, what would you change into? All answers are acceptable. You would change into a gerbil because you have two gerbils. You want to know what they're like, what they're saying? Like if they're talking about you when you're asleep? Yeah. I had nightmares about that forever, about my stuffed animals talking about me while I was asleep, and how they'd be jealous because I didn't have all of them on my bed. I digress. Anyway, You would turn into a dog. I think you practice being a dog enough. You have a great time doing that. Yes, Frog. A panda lion? Now I got that visual. A bunny. Those are cute. Well, I'm going to read you a story real quick. And it says, from the Tao of Pooh. Now, I don't think this is Winnie the Pooh. It's supposed to be an old Chinese folk tale. It's called the Stonecutter's Tale. Now, there was once a stonecutter who was very dissatisfied with himself and with the position of his life. And one day, as he passed by a wealthy merchant's house, and through the open gateway, he saw many fine possessions and many important visitors. How powerful that merchant must be, he thought the stonecutter, and he became very envious and wished that he could be like the merchant. And then to his great surprise, by golly, he suddenly became a merchant. He did. He was enjoying the luxuries and the powers he had never imagined, but he envied and detested those who were less wealthy than him. Soon, a high official passed by, carried in a sedan chair. Ooh. Do you guys have a picture of what a sedan chair is in your head? No? What do you think?
A spinning chair that makes like a roller coaster.
Okay, all right. That'd be fun. What do you think?
One of those chairs are just lifted up into like carrying around.
One of those, yeah. That's more of what I envision, but I think a roller coaster chair could be a lot more fun. So anyway, he was passing by, and he was accompanied by several attendants and escorted by soldiers, and everyone, no matter how wealthy, had to bow before the procession. Now, how powerful that official is, he thought. I wish I could be that high official. And then all of a sudden, he became a high official, and he was carried everywhere in his embroidered roller coaster chair, and he was feared and hated by all the people around. And it was a hot summer day, so that official felt very uncomfortable in his roller coaster chair. He looked up at the sun, and it shone proudly in the sky, unaffected by his presence. Why, how powerful is the sun? I wish I could be the sun. What do you think happened? He became the sun. You guys see the pattern. That's great. He became the sun, shining fiercely down on everyone, scorching the fields, cursed by farmers and laborers. But a huge black cloud moved between him and the earth. And it did so, and his light could not shine on everything below. Why, how powerful is that storm cloud, he thought. What did he say? I wish I could be that cloud. And then guess what? You see the pattern that's going here. Let's talk about this. Does he ever seem happy? No. Yes, just be happy with yourself. That's right. Let's keep going. Let's see if he ever is happy with himself or what happens at the end. He became a cloud, flooding villages and the fields. He was shouted at by everyone, and he soon found that he was being pushed away by some great force. And he realized that force was, what can move a cloud? The wind! You guys have read this before me. That's great.
Who's going to turn into the wind, Missy?
I mean, I think we should read and find out. But it says, he became the wind! Yes, and he was blowing tiles off roofs and uprooting trees. He was feared and hated by all, but after a while he found out that there's a huge rock, and he could not move that big, powerful rock. So he said, I wish I could be the rock. I know. And then he became the rock, even more powerful than anything else on earth. But as he stood there, he heard the sound of hammering and pounding and chisel on a hard surface, and he felt himself being changed. Well, what could be more powerful than a rock? Do you guys remember what the title of our story was? No. It was a while ago, and I can talk a lot. So he wished to become a stonecutter, which was literally him. You're right. That's absolutely right. He didn't seem happy at all, did he? He could change and do just about whatever he wanted through mysticism and magic. And he thought he had it all, but in the end, he ended up being what he was, right? A stonecutter. So before we go downstairs, and we are going to go outside, so if you have coats and you think it's cold, we need to grab our coats, okay? I want to leave you with this, because I saw it on some high schooler's Stanley Cup, so that means it has to be true. If you can be anything in life, be kind, okay? That was a sign in a teacher's classroom? They must have the same Stanley Cup.
There's something else I did today that was so inspiring. You asked a question that gave two choices.
Mm-hmm.
Unitarian children said, I'm an individual. There are other choices in life too.
Yeah,
I love that part. The world can change.
it can. It can. But we got to be kind first about it, don't we? All right, let's go downstairs and we'll do something else.
Peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you. Everywhere you may go. May the spirit of love surround you. Everywhere you may What a great joy that we are gathered here together as a community. And in so doing, we share the joys, concerns, the milestones in our lives. And among us, the following has been shared. Lori and Doug McCullum have shared that a longtime member, Kathleen Carter, passed yesterday after a long battle with dementia. We ask to hold her family in the light. Do we have anything online to share? Thank you. Also, in our larger world, we offer our condolences and solidarity to the family and friends of Nex Benedict of Owasso, Oklahoma. Nex Benedict is a 16-year-old non-binary youth who died on February 8th after reportedly being beaten up by 3 older students in the girls' bathroom at the school on the 7th of February. Nex's mother is a registered member of the Choctaw Nation. Owasso is part of the Choctaw Reservation. Nex was a beautiful and beloved child. May their family know justice and peace. And we also offer our relief and support to those who may be affected because of the large fire last night in Rock Island at the animal auction house there. No people were injured that we know of, and 1 animal died. 1 is still on the loose, and the rest of the animals seem to be fine based on reports that have been received so far, but we believe that the auction house was a total loss. So that is going to impact a lot of people, and our hearts go out to them, but we're also grateful that no more were injured or hurt than has been reported. Yes.
Online joy didn't back home.
Okay.
Max, Taran Van Dittinger, the joy that even though I couldn't be here in person and still could be here on YouTube, the joy that Oreo, the bunny, trusts Joe to hold him. Also a concern for our water heater.
Thank you. May we hold those concerns in our hearts as we consider all of those that remain with us in our hearts, in our lives, and the lives of those we know, but remain unspoken. Loosen, loosen, baby, you don't have to carry the weight of the world in your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Holy breath and holy name, will you ease this pain? All will be well, and all will be well, all manner of things will be well. Spirit of life, Spirit of love, Spirit of generosity. As we draw near to that quiet, essential side of ourselves, may we open enough to consider the sacred choices we make each minute, each hour, each day that add up to a lifetime. Let us become aware that here in this place is a place to be forgiven and to forgive ourselves for any past thoughts and actions. Here is a place to begin again with love. As we are forgiven, let us open our hearts to forgive others, to pray for them, for their well-being and joy, that they may be lifted from worry and burden into peace and abundance. May we all be blessed with the riches of the Spirit, and moment upon moment of peace and serenity. Amen, and blessed be. During the musical meditation, please feel free to come forward to light candles, and now join us in a moment in silence, in reflection, meditation, or prayer, as you will.
The reading today is It Starts with a Spark by the Reverend Linda Susan Ulrich. Reverend Linda Susan is one of our non-binary ministers in Unitarian Universalism. They are also a person of color. We want to offer, and I think they're putting together poems that might be included in a Skinner House book from the UUA pretty soon. Stay tuned. A quick flash that makes you doubt your senses, but then a tiny ember glows on braided twine and brings a flame to life. Soon, you find a candle sitting on a table, desolate until its wick touches yours. And suddenly the brightness doubles. In an instant, the warmth has grown. This intensified glow draws others like a beacon. 5, 10, 50, hundreds maybe. Not moths bent on destruction, but fellow travelers seeking the road ahead. The people begin to move forward, no matter how far the line stretches. No one is left to fend for themselves. Everyone makes progress, or no one does. In the distance, bands of others now beckon, other beacons come. Proof of other sparks that become blazes, the air crackles with anticipation as everyone approaches the center. And there the scales are balanced, there the broken are healed. Now you know what it means to be love. Now you know how to illuminate the sky. Here ends the reading.
This congregation is a theologically diverse religious community with membership open to all who are in accordance with our principles, our mission, and vision. We are a welcoming congregation to people of all sexual orientations, and we are unconditionally welcoming of any and all of you to our community of mutual caring and serious intent to grow as spiritual and moral beings. Our congregation is entirely self-governed by democratic process. One of the privileges of our free church tradition is to provide all of our financial support for our ministries from amongst ourselves. Generosity, therefore, is one of the spiritual values we recognize as central to our personal and institutional well-being. You are now invited to participate in the blessing of giving as the ushers come among you to accept the gifts of this congregation. This month, we are sharing our undesignated plate offering with the PACG, or Progressive Action for the Common Good. Thank you for your generosity.
We are our grandmother's prayers. We are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of the ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are our grandmother's prayers. We are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. For that, in recognition of the UU artist, you say Barnwell and Sweet Honey in the Rock. Because it is good to begin with singing. If we are, as the Pledge Drive theme says, if we are igniting a light in the world, we need to work with some oxygen, the element and the spirit, yes? It is so good to be here with you. I want to thank you for welcoming me to the congregation. I have heard so much from your interim minister, my spouse, the Reverend Patrick Price. Oh yeah, him, that one here. He, back in November, he led worship in the congregation with which I have the privilege to serve, the Universalist Unitarian Church in Peoria, Illinois. And now I get to return the favor, and what also is an opportunity and a gift that I get to be part of your effort to move into the future, to move into the next year to come, because this is part of the lead into the getting ready. We are at the start line of supporting your effort to sustain and grow this beloved community before the formal kickoff for the annual budget drive for next week. This is a chance to secure the financial commitments that will support the ongoing life of this congregation and boost those efforts to live into your aspirations as who you want to become as a community, as a presence in the Quad Cities, as a voice for progressive liberal religion in this world. Yes, yes, yes. All right. So I hope, as we're in the moment for today and this week and coming up, that you will think how to be as generously, financially generous as you can be relative to your life. You all have some big dreams to live into in this year, and it's going to need all the gifts, can I say. But I want to take a moment. So this is probably my one chance to get to talk with you all. So we want to get to know a little bit here too. So I want to share a little bit about myself with you. In that for all we talk about big dreams and aspirations, that my very first memory of church revolves around a cardboard box. Very humble beginnings with that memory. So I grew up in the Unitarian Universalist Church of Worcester, Massachusetts. And my mother grew up in First Unitarian Church of Worcester, where her parents were married. So I am one of those people that has stayed. I am third generation Unitarian and Unitarian Universalist, and my children, we are trying to raise the fourth generation. They're here today, they're hanging out. But I will also say that there was, I believe, a gap between when my parents were married and when they actually started to bring us to church. Because, as many people know, wrangling multiple toddlers and babies is challenging on a Sunday morning, yes? Yes. But when I started talking about angels in heaven, after a child in our neighborhood died, my mother was like, all right, we're getting to church. We're going to church. I had heard our neighbors talking and started using their language. And in case you're wondering, children are listening. The foundation of my faith is a significant experience. It must be very early in my time going to be at church. Our lesson was from the Haunting House curriculum, with which we focused on how to understand where we live, our whole bodies, if you will, whether that was our bodies, our homes, or our communities. And I'll just offer as an aside that the Haunting House curriculum was one of the very much earlier incarnations of our comprehensive sex education for our very youngest children, because it offered age-appropriate information on our bodies and how they work. We were being taught about agency and self right from the beginning. But in the Haunting House section, of which I really have the memory of, each of us had a chance to build our own house, design it however we wished. And if you have a whole class of children doing this together, you need the biggest space in the church, which in my case was our fellowship hall. So this small village of stove and refrigerator boxes bloomed in a few weeks. Now I think mine was a big stove box. And the front panel had a painted big blue bat for warding off my little brothers, because, little brothers. And I think there may be even a Polaroid somewhere. You remember Polaroid? Polaroid of me peering out from underneath that, just with this big old grin on my face. And being in Fellowship Hall, my classmates and I were in the middle of where everyone gathered for coffee hour. And so this meant, and there was still plenty of room, it was a big hall. This meant, though, that all of the adults saw what we created and saw how I understood what was important to me. In that moment, I stood from my little home and looked out at the adults and felt accepted, felt community, felt seen by people who weren't my family and weren't at school and so on and so forth, by this gathering of people. I cannot recall an earlier moment of my life when I was conscious of being recognized for who I was in the midst of many. And this moment, for me, coming in the context of church, of being part of a religious community, was everything. So I absorbed that this value must be part of this faith. And from that experience, I had this embodied understanding of freedom, of security, of relationship, of love, and of purpose. Because not just did I get to benefit from this, but we must create this together because others had done this for me. Providing this kind of moment is what we do for our children. It's also what we do for each other, for every one of us, because I know I need the same experience as an adult. I mean, the details of how to do this takes many forms. How people relate, even whether or not they attend in person, all of the above. And boy, the last few years, we've really explored all the varieties of this, haven't we? Yeah. But the foundation remains. The values are there. Because if those values are there, then the form can be highly varied. It can suit what we need it to do. That foundation, that value of liberation and security and love, that is what we pass from generation to generation. For years, when I visited other congregations as a youth and later as an adult, I could tell when they were doing the same curriculum thanks to the cardboard villages in coffee hour. I mean, really, I loved it. And I tell you, I've really counted on that foundation in recent years as the events and concerns in the world have done this kind of existential two-step mosh pit in our lives. Because some days, even when you're really grounded, it is hard to hang on. Can I ask, you all have heard of Spider-Man, yes? We know Spider-Man, Stan Lee, all the, your friendly neighborhood web slinger. So maybe you've been reading about his adventures for decades in the comics, or maybe you are a fan of the Marvel universe of recent years. Now, one of the most recent movies, Spider-Man Homecoming, where you have Tom Holland as the guy. I saw the trailer for it, I think back in January 2017. And in that movie, there is this scene where the villain, the bad guy, there's in New York Harbor, and the bad guy has used this massive weapon to cut down the middle of the Staten Island ferry. I mean, right down the middle. So you have this massive boat slowly falling apart. I mean, it's a moment. And there you have Spider-Man, somehow swinging into action, and in rapid sequence, attaches webs everywhere over through the length of the ferry, and even has the engineering, this is an engineering thing, to attach them in ways to make them stronger together and bring them all, and he brings them all into the middle, and he's like this, holding on for dear life. And things start to snap, even as strong and as able as he is. Now the scene resolves and everyone is saved, just so you know. I mean, it's 2017, so spoilers, but I figure. But I tell you, I watched just the trailer with that scene. It got my attention. It was very effective. And I was feeling that strain. I could tell that that image was right embodied inside of me. I knew that experience from my life and my church at the time. It felt like I certainly identified with that Spider-Man being all alone, holding on for the moment, holding on to dear life, feeling everything start to break and snap. At the time, that image was a revelation. I thought about it personally, but I also really thought about it with regards to church. The congregation I was with at the time in Fort Worth, there was a struggle, man. They had a long, gradual decline of numbers. There had been some conflict. The building needed a whole lot of care. And you had fewer skilled volunteers available to help keep it all together. Never mind be looking into the future. They had made a commitment to remain in the building, but they were really challenged to have a sense of imagination or possibility because they were so occupied with hanging on. And I, as the minister, was right in the middle of it. I felt like Spider-Man in that ferry. But I didn't just hold on to that feeling myself. I shared that image, that experience with the Committee on Ministry a little bit later that month. And you know what? They were like, yeah, me too. Me too. They too felt like that Spider-Man grabbing on for everything and trying to keep all the threads together. And then I shared that conversation with the board and then with others. And you know what? None of us were alone in that feeling. We just hadn't talked about it together as a community. And simply the act of having that conversation eased the load, helped us kind of see one another again, and the congregation as well, and reminded us that we weren't in this alone. And then we could later have a little bit of conversation separate from that one that said, we don't have to just stay here right where we are. We can change what's happening as being part of this beloved community. In the last couple of months, congregation in Peoria has been working on some dreaming and some imagining of its own, creating something of a 5-year plan. And I tell you, we have our own short survey, and people have filled it out, which is great. But we also had some listening sessions and conversation sessions, and a whole day actually that was just powerful. And I tell you, you know that something is clicking when everybody who shows up in the morning stays for the whole day. Like none of you use drift after lunch, because that's a thing, I know. That's okay, but everybody stayed. And the listening and the conversation that people have had with each other, that I've had a chance to hear them, and we've had a chance to hear each other, I tell you, has refreshed my love of them and our experience together. So I want to ask you, I want to take just a moment here in this thinking moment. One of the questions I had for them, which was, what keeps bringing you back to this congregation? This one. What keeps bringing you back? And the internal processors are going to need a minute, but if you're an external processor and you have something to say, good, you can say it. Community? Mm-hmm. Friends? Yep. Music. Yep. Beauty. Mm-hmm. Celebration and no credo. Yep. I think I got those. Yep. Yeah. Here's my other question of the many. What are you proud of? What energizes you in this congregation and how it lives itself? Yes. The leadership you have and the talent? Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's history. Mm-hmm. Nice. Diversity. I'm sorry? The building. I have to tell you, I really enjoyed, it's nice when there's no leaves, you can see the building. I really enjoy seeing this beautiful space. Okay. Yep. The plants, the tree is outside is starting to bloom and is looking a little purpley. Yeah. All those things. And there's so much more. There is so much more. There is so much abundance just within this one body, from all that has been received, from all that is in process, from all that is about to happen, that is to come. I want to expand on this a little bit because we've been talking a little bit about the congregation, but the foundation is also one that takes us out into the world as well. It occurred to me that village and coffee hour was never just for me, and it was never just for my classmates, and it was never actually just for the congregation even. It was a core experience of service as well, and how to create places for others that are also safe and just. Places where people can find their true selves, whether or not they have anything to do with the church. Places of solidarity and partnership and advocacy. Parker Palmer, the Quaker teacher and guide, says in Let Your Life Speak, Before you tell your life what you intend to do with it, listen for what it intends to do with you. Vocation does not come from willfulness, it comes from listening. I must listen to my life and try to understand what it is truly about, quite apart from what I would like it to be about. Or my life will never represent anything real in the world, no matter how earnest my intentions. And as Frederick Buechner asserts when he defines vocation, vocation is the place where your deep gladness meets the world's deep need. Where your deep gladness meets the world's deep need. It says, this is something I can't not do for reasons I'm unable to explain, and I don't fully understand, but I am compelled. We are called as liberal religious bodies to become manifestations of who we are, of what we say we are about in the world, manifestations of love at the core of everything. As theologian James Luther Adams reminds us, there is no immaculate conception of virtue. What we believe must be made real, to be relevant, to be true. We must put faith in action, as it were. To take a note from Stan Lee in Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility. I think in Unitarian Universalism, our living tradition, great freedom comes with great responsibility. We make manifest the community, the theology, the service. It's not all our work, but we must do our part. And there are partners in this work. The congregation with which I serve in Peoria is embarking on a new commitment of its own. We are establishing, we are part of a growing national network of folks who are supporting trans and non-binary folks and their families to find safer spaces if they need to leave where they are. Now, Peoria is an ideal place because it is in Illinois with all of its protections at this point, and it is affordable. Yeah, it's affordable. Yeah. Very practical, right? And the congregation and its partners are doing this publicly, even while we strive to keep the individuals that may be helped as anonymous and secure as possible. Because, in part, because the forecast is getting dire, and folks being helped in this kind of network are often indigenous, Black, people of color. They often have physical and mental health challenges and limited means. And this is one of those things where the average member really won't even know who these people are. Like, we aren't going to know. And we also are recognizing as a congregation there is a certain risk in being so public and being so visible about this. But how can we not? How can we not when we hear the heartbreaking story of Nex Benedict in Oklahoma, right? How can we not? And you all, so many of you all being here in Iowa probably know this even more than I do, right? We affirm the worth of every person. We know we are connected. We know our liberation is bound with one another. And I know that every one of the people that we may support and be part of and help are as much a part of that cardboard village I had as a child as anything else. This congregation is entering this new chapter in its life with some big transitions in staff and ministry and looking to the future. How will you let your life speak? What will be in place so your children and all the people who come to this body will have such foundational experiences, people of every age, at every stage in life? If you want to do something practical, finish the survey. I mean, really, it's a thing. It's a thing. Please do so and help the volunteers know who you are, what you value, what you dream, and what you want to do, and what you all can do as a body. Be generous with all of your gifts, including the financial ones, as generous as is relative to your life. The work here is powerful and worthwhile. This is a moment to build on what has already been. Just seeing what is here tells me of the capacity for the vision that has been feeding this place for all this time and is certainly able to continue onward. So much is able to be drawn together, not out of desperation, but out of love, because no one of us has to hold it all. So much is coming together. And so we gather and we build and we celebrate. And we return again and again to light the beacon and to live into love. Let us go forth and live into that love together. Amen. Please rise in body or spirit for our closing hymn, number 1008, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place.
Please join us now in our extinguishing of our chalice and sending our light into the world. Together we say, when we take fire from our chalice, it does not become less, it becomes more. And so we extinguish our chalice, but we take its light and warmth with us, multiplying their power by all of our lives and sharing it with the world.
Within each of our hearts is the most glorious light. Go forth and let its spark help you understand what troubles you, both you and others. Go forth and let the light of reason be a guide in your decisions. Go forth and bring its ray of hope to those in need, both in body and spirit, that they may find healing. Go forth and fan the flames of passion to help heal our world. Go forth and spread the warm glow of love, pushing back the darkness of the world. Go forth and share your glorious light with the world.
May the Eternal bless you and protect you. May the Eternal smile on you and favor you. May the Eternal befriend you and prosper you and all people always. Amen. And blessed be. Please remain for the postlude.